Hey guys, welcome to the beautiful town of Kannur. We're very close to Ooty. Okay, ground clearance is already a big check. Yeah, we are riding, as you can see, the classic 650 motorcycle that so many of us have been waiting for. It's finally here, and man, does it look good. I'm a big fan of the way the classic 350 looks, especially the newest edition. I love the colorways, but this one takes it a level higher with a bigger engine and the twin exhaust. Makes the classic 650 look big and purposeful, as well as the old school beauty that it is. Show me all the ways that we can live forever. So this motorcycle essentially is based on the Shotgun 650. It gets the same chassis, the same brakes, the same Showa setup. Only difference is it gets traditional telescopic forks up front instead of the USDs on the Shotgun. And the rear shocks are Showa as well. You have the exact same front and rear suspension travel. Hit the lights. And you also get the traditional 1918 wheel setup, which are spoked instead of the 1817 alloys on the Shotgun. And because of that, you also have a little more ground clearance, 155. And the seat height has gone up a little bit more to 800 millimeter, which is still very accessible. The rider's triangle, as you can see, is again very similar. Foot peg position, the seat is essentially in the same place. The seat is a little bit different, but the handlebar sits a little bit taller, is a little bit wider, and comes a little bit towards the rider. A little more traditional compared to the Shotgun. Show me all the ways that we can live forever. I think this is the heaviest Royal Enfield in the 650 lineup now. 243 kgs. Now the additional 3 kgs we are told come from, you have a bigger tank, 14.8 liters on the classic 650. The headlight console or the nacelle is a little bit heavier. You of course have spoke wheels, which are bigger, and you also have the telescopic forks. So all of that together, and the rear mudguard, they have added to the weight. What a beautiful place to finally ride the classic 650. Never been to this part of India. I'm wondering why, because it's so freaking beautiful. In many ways, it was like the perfect way for us to get acquainted with this motorcycle, which we have all waited for so long. And not to mention just the lofty expectations that it comes with, looking at the success of the classic 350, and especially since Royal Enfield discontinued the 500. So all of that expectation now rests on the shoulders of this motorcycle. And I think after this short ride, I think Royal Enfield have done a really good job. The ride quality, I was expecting not a whole lot out of it. I was in fact bracing myself for, again, the same story, which is really firm shocks. And especially on this motorcycle, it was going to be a bummer considering how good the classic 350 is when it comes to ride quality and how plush it is, and it just absorbs everything. And this one now, in fact, surprised us with the rear shock being a lot more supple than we were expecting. It's definitely on the firmer side, but it definitely did a much better job at absorbing the bumps than I was expecting. The fact that this one gets spoke wheels instead of alloys like on the Shotgun, and that maybe possibly also gives it a little more play. It's a little more supple in terms of the way it absorbs the bumps. Even though you have the same amount of wheel travel as the Shotgun, the springs on this are a little on the softer side is what we are told. The damping is similar. I think that is where I feel there is scope for improvement, because there's a lot of rebound damping, so you don't have the same amount of suppleness. But right now, as you can see, we're also riding in the softest preload mode. And as we have seen on the Bear 650, if you've seen my suspension hack video, there's still wiggle room there for us to, play around with the preload and see if that makes the suspension, the ride quality even better. With that out of the way, the rest of the motorcycle is just a big white check, because look at it. It looks absolutely smashing. It carries forward the legacy of the Classic 350 in terms of the way it looks. There's a lot of chrome. The engine is something which we have come to expect. It's really good. It's buttery smooth. It's really refined. There's a lot of torque everywhere. It sounds fantastic. And also in terms of the gear ratios, they have made a few changes because of mainly the wheels that have changed. But overall, the overall gearing is similar to a shotgun. But what surprised me was just how beautifully it handles. The way it moves, the way it carries the weight, the way it goes into corner, it's so neutral, it's so predictable. I think they've definitely, even though you have telescopic forks at the front and not USD like on the shotgun, I think the damping on this is pretty much bang on. It's the right mix of suppleness as well as the support that you require to make this motorcycle feel really light on its feet, really predictable in corners. You can actually carry really good speed in corners. And the fact that it is a little bit longer in terms of the wheelbase means that it's also really stable, really sure-footed, even though you have a smaller 140 section tire. I think in fact that helps with the agility of the motorcycle. And the handling also has a lot to do with the wide handlebar. You have really good leverage, even in these crazy twisty roads that we have here in Kannur, which is like continuous back and forth like switchbacks. This motorcycle felt really easy to ride. You did not really feel the weight at all. The only things that I could really complain about was the weight is there, as this is the heaviest motorcycle at 243 kgs. Even though it does a really good job at masking it when you're moving, when you're stationary, when you're taking a U-turn, when you're moving it in the parking lot, you will feel that weight. So yeah, that is something that you should take into account also when you're putting it on the main stand. And secondly, as has been a complaint with every single twin, the clutch, despite being slip and assist, is on the heavier side. But other than that, I think Royal Enfield have really pretty much nailed the formula with the Classic 650. It looks the part. It has the best engine from the RE lineup. It handles really well. And then you have the pricing at 3.37 lakhs. I think it leaves you very, very little to complain about. And in many ways, at least for me, this is like the most complete package from the RE stable now. Yes, the ride quality is still a question mark, and I will be able to answer that question once we again ride it longer at home, where the roads are much more terrible. But yeah, I'm leaving Kannur with a big smile on my face and a big thumbs up for Royal Enfield, because the Classic 350, for all the expectations that it had, has pretty much lived up to it.